Hey developers, welcome to BigQuery. Today, we're bringing you the hottest open source projects trending on GitHub, so you don't miss any tech developments worth your attention.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a trending project on GitHub, Skills, an open source framework from Google that equips AI agents with practical abilities. This project bridges the gap between large language models and real-world action, allowing developers to build agents that can interact directly with Google's products and services. What if an AI agent could learn to manage a complex cloud platform, not by reading endless documentation, but by acquiring pre-packaged expert-level skills? This isn't some far-off future concept. It's the design philosophy behind a new open-source project from Google, and it's fundamentally changing how automated systems are built. The project is called Skills, and it's developed by Google. It serves as an official repository of agent skills. Think of these as modular capabilities for AI agents to interact with Google products, especially Google Cloud. The developer interest is huge. It has already racked up over 12,000 stars, with more than 450 of those added just today. So, what problem is it trying to solve? It's all about tackling the complexity of manually coding integrations between AI agents and Google's massive ecosystem of services and APIs. Building capable AI agents today runs into a major challenge. How do you make them interact reliably with external systems? Take a platform as complex as Google Cloud. Traditionally, developers had to write tons of brittle code just to handle things like authentication, API calls, and error handling for services like BigQuery or Kubernetes. The other option? You could try feeding massive amounts of documentation into a large language model's context window. But that's inefficient and often produces unreliable results. The Google Skills project offers a different path. It abstracts all these complex operations into semantic, reusable skills. This shifts the entire paradigm. Instead of writing imperative code, developers now declaratively assign capabilities to their agents. So, how does it work under the hood? This project isn't a single application. Instead, it's a library of plugins designed for a compatible AI agent framework. The architecture is really well layered. At the top, you have a declarative layer. This is just a simple markdown file that describes a skill's purpose in natural language, acting as an interface for the agent's language model. Underneath that is the implementation layer. This layer contains the Python or shell scripts that do the actual work. This design creates a clean separation between the what and the how. For instance, a skill to deploy an application is described in plain English, while a separate script handles all the underlying G-Cloud commands. A key insight here is the project's focus on managing the entire agent lifecycle, a concept known as agent ops. There are skills for an agent platform, which reveal a system for registering, discovering, and even evaluating other skills. This points to a future where agents can dynamically find and load new abilities at runtime. It even includes something called an evaluation flywheel. This flywheel analyzes performance, identifies failure patterns, and creates a feedback loop for continuous improvement. The result is an agent whose capabilities can evolve and get better over time. The real-world applications here are both practical and powerful. Imagine a DevOps engineer building an agent that uses a skill to automatically monitor network performance, or one that audits cloud resources against Google's well-architected framework for security and cost optimization. A developer could simply command an agent to deploy a new web service to Cloud Run, and the agent would use the right skill to handle the entire process from start to finish. And the barrier to entry is surprisingly low. Developers can add a skill to their agent with just a single command. npx skills add Google Skills. The whole experience feels just like installing a standard software package. So what does the community think? The reception has been largely positive. Developers are praising the project for making complex cloud operations much simpler and for reducing the need to write long, detailed prompts. Many see it as a foundational piece of infrastructure, especially for getting around context window limitations. But it's not all praise. Some structural concerns have been raised. For one, the project is still new and has a limited number of skills. There are also worries about how these skills will be kept up to date, how quality will be ensured, and the potential risk of developers becoming less familiar with the underlying cloud technologies they're abstracting away. Despite all its promise, this approach does carry some significant risks. The most critical one is security. Think about it. An agent executing scripts on a live cloud environment based on a language model's interpretation. That could be disastrous without extremely strict sandboxing and permission controls. The project's reliance on an external agent framework also creates a dependency. If that framework changes, the skills could suddenly become useless. And finally, the natural language interface itself is a potential point of failure. A minor change in a skills description could be enough to confuse the agent, making debugging a nightmare. Ultimately, Google Skills is much more than just a collection of scripts. It's a blueprint for a new era of enterprise AI, an era where expert knowledge is encapsulated into verifiable, reusable modules. The reason this matters is because it signals a major shift, a shift toward a more structured, scalable, and manageable way of building and deploying the next generation of AI agents.
That's all for today's Devcovery. We hope these GitHub trending projects spark some inspiration for your development work. You can find all the repos mentioned in the description below. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you tomorrow at the same time.